Okay, I want to look at the end of the Praggnanandhaa game with Carlsen because the end was really cool.
Okay.
I didn't see the beginning, but we'll start here. This is a good place to start. I actually haven't seen the game at all. In fact, the line that they played is a line that's in my course. So I'll show you by transposition.
No, we're hyping the course
Yeah.
already.
Okay, so in this position's in my course. And it went by a totally different move order. You can get this position by any move order. But my move order is black plays the Taresh, Queen's Gambit, which is C5. And the main line is to take on D5, but I'm suggesting this because it's simpler. And then we get this position, which they got in the game. And I'm suggesting that white play A3 here, which is what Carlsen played. So this is the beginning of the line that I suggest. Possibly Carlsen has spies, I don't know. And he got into my computer and he says, okay, Ben recommends A3. The course isn't out yet. It's possible because, he owned, the Magnus Carlsen group and Chessable and Danny Wrench. It's all a rich tapestry. Mm-hmm. So maybe he knew that it's on my computer and he can actually see it. That's very likely, except for one thing.
I'm sure anal beads are involved somehow.
Somehow. I was telling the chat when we weren't here yet, I was in Spencer's Gifts with Iram, and there was either a mug or a shirt. I don't remember because they all have sayings on them, and it had a picture of a butt plug, and it said like "I love my butt plug" or something. And I said I don't know if it was a mug or if it was a shirt, but I said that would be a good present for Hans. But okay.
So ridiculous.
Yeah, Spencer's Gifts has a lot of X-rated stuff, by the way. And it's in a mall.
I've been in there before.
No, but all Spencer's Gifts are in malls, and they all have, like, X-rated stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the outrage?
Used to, when we were kids, we didn't have one in Dothan, at least for a while where I grew up. But they had one in Florida. So we would go to the mall there. Of course, we were dying to see anything like that because you didn't have the internet back then. So we would go into Spencer's.
Go Spencer's Gifts. Who do you think Spencer was named after? Sven Beingold said his son is outraged. Yeah. Okay, so they played this variation, and the point of A3 is you want to take on C5 and then play B4 attacking the bishop. So he took on C4, letting me... and this is basically just a direct transposition to a QGA because white hasn't moved his bishop yet. So if we play a QGA... and you play E3 like I do, because that's what I do. Okay, and then A3 wouldn't be the most common move, but it's fine. Then that's the position that we have. So this would be more likely to come from a QGA, but okay. So bishop C4, okay. So he played A6, bishop D3. Now, if Praggnanandhaa takes on D4, then he would lose his queen to the standard, queen, bishop
Right.
check. Yeah. So for some reason, Praggnanandhaa didn't do that. He played G6, which is a move I've never seen. Because usually you don't play E6 and G6. You play one, then the other. Yeah. So bishop E7 would be 800 million different master games, including some of mine. So he pinned the knight. And he played bishop E4. The knight's pinned and he wants to take this and mess the pawns up, or he wants to play D5 early. Unclear. Knight E7, stopping everything I just said. Put it in H. Always play H4. Takes. Queen D2. Queen D2 prevents black from castling because the queen's on the H pawn. So what white wants to do is play rook D1, castles, rook E1, D5, and open it up. And black can't castle, so the engine wants to play knight f5, which defends this and attacks this. And it says white is a little bit better after a long castle, but it's close. But he played knight d5, which the engine says is bad. h5, g5. And then he played knight e5, and white's just better here. Bad bishop, really active pieces. Black's king isn't going to be safe here. So Magnus has a nice advantage. And in this position, the engine wants to castle, which is what I would do. or play rook d1, which I would never do. And Magnus made the committal decision.
Committal.
Committal, yeah. And he still can't get the butt plug out. That's committal. He can't get it out. That's committal. Yeah. Okay, he played this move. If you played this move, I would yell at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, what are you doing? I don't even think you'd consider this move.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, he played here. Giving up the 2 bishops.
I wouldn't play there.
No. Okay, then he took, and then he played castles. So he gave away most of his advantage. Now the engine wants to castle, and Magnus is definitely going to play f4 and start attacking the black king. Pragg played bishop e6, which is bad. Rook here. And basically my knights are better than your bishops, so he's better here. And then the engine wants to play f4, which I agree. He played rook e3, trying to double up on the bubble up. Bishop f5, queen d1. The engine likes that move. The queen can go to b3 or f3, defends the h-pawn. Rook e8. And after rook e8, Magnus misses a tactic, which is very strange. So rook e8 is a bad move tactically, which is weird for Praggnanandhaa to blunder because he's, good at tactics. And Magnus didn't see it, showing that Magnus isn't really, this isn't his tournament. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That guy, he could play knight takes f7, which both players missed, I guess. I can't believe the player saw it and didn't do it, which is possible. It's possible Magnus saw queen d7, knight e5, and then takes on e5, takes on e5, takes on e5, takes on e5, d4. And then after knight e2, he thought, I don't want to do this. The engine wants to do it. The engine plays knight g3 and says white's a pawn up. So it's possible Magnus saw this and didn't do it. I doubt. I think he just didn't see it. I think Magnus didn't play knight f7 because it looks like black just plays king takes f7, which is probably why he played rook e8. And now white plays rook f3, and you can't save your bishop. I'm pinning it. I got g4 coming. I got queen d3 coming. And white's just going to be up a pawn here for nothing. So I'm guessing both players missed it. But it could be they did interviews afterwards where they both saw it. What do I know? Yeah. It's bishop takes e4, not d4. Come on, trying to learn. Stop having typos.
Yeah.
Okay, so instead he played rook e1, doubling up on the bubble up. And then he probably realized this is a threat now, so he went back. Which is funny. Okay, knight a4 is good. He wants to play knight c5. b6, stopping knight c5. Rook b3, threatening the b pawn. He's like, please play b5 so I can play knight here. And he said no. Queen c7. Now the engine wants to take with the rook, and it says white's better. And he took with the knight, which the engine does not like. It doesn't like the move rook takes b6. It puts that in knight takes b6. Puts it in a funny color. Rook b8 attacking the knight. Knight has to go back to a4. You have to take back. And now he played bishop takes e5. And probably Magnus underestimated this. This bishop takes e5. Because it doesn't look like black wants to give up his 2 bishops, especially this bishop, which is the good one. Okay, now in this position, Magnus took with the pawn. If he takes with the rook, which is also possible, then I check. And then I check, and your d pawn is hanging. So after king g1, I can perpetual if I want, or I can take on d4 and play for the win. If you play g3, your f pawn's hanging with check, and after queen g3, I can take on d4. So Magnus has to take with the pawn, so he did. Then queen a5 attacks the rook, and it puts pressure on the knight. And I'm going to play d4 attacking your queen, and my d pawn's pretty strong. And this pawn's weak here, so black is fine now. Queen d1, bishop g4. If the queen takes the bishop, the queen takes the rook. Otherwise, you have to lose your pawn or play the very weakening f3. f3 is forced. If you don't play f3, your queen isn't on your rook, your knight and your rook. So it has to be on d1 to defend both.
Man, that was a good move.
Uh-huh. So bishop d7 attacking the knight.
That Praggnanandhaa did.
Right. The knight has to go to c3. Queen c5 check. d4. In this position, Magnus played the only good move. If you play knight e4, which looks obvious, I play queen takes e5 check, and black is better. Instead, he played rook e4, which is correct. And this gets us to a totally insane, crazy position, which the engine says is correct. Take the knight, take the bishop, and then play c2, giving up your rook with check, because your pawn's going to promote. Obviously, it's black's move. He makes a queen and he wins. So white has to do something about that. He played b4, which is correct. He wants to take the queen. Queen has to stay on the c file. He stops rook e1. He plays f4. He queens, and he plays f5. Look how exciting it is. Okay. So white's threatening mate. f6 check. King h7, queen f7 check, queen g7 mate. So we can't allow that. We can't give up our queen for a pawn because we're down a rook. So we can't really lose a lot of material. And so he played the best move or the second best move? He played the best move. After f6 check, king h7, we have to protect our pawn here. So he played queen c7, protecting his pawn. Okay. And so he played f6 check, and he played queen f8, threatening queen g7 mate. Looks unstoppable. Looks bad. Okay. Queen takes e5 check. You have to take the queen. Queen f4 check. You can't play king h3 because queen here's mate. You can't play king h1 because I have perpetual king here. If you play g3, I have perpetual. So he played king g1. And you can't take the rook because mate. And you can't take the pawn because you'd be down a rook. So you have to just keep checking. And you can't go to the e file because you lose your rook with check. So the game could end in a draw now, which is king here, queen here. But Magnus played for the win. He let him take the rook with check and take the f pawn. Because Magnus thought his majority was better than this majority. He might have thought this is equal, but I'm better than Praggnanandhaa, so I'll play an equal position. And the engine just says the rest of the game is equal. Nobody was ever winning. But it got interesting. They both got past pawns and stuff.
So what you're saying, it was a draw?
Well, the game ended in a draw, but it was a very long... They played forever. They both won a queen as many times as possible. By the way, queen d4 is an excellent move. In this position, after queen c3 check, if you move your king, and I queen, even though you have two queens and it's your move, this queen stops queen g8 check, and this queen stops queen h8 check. So if you move your king, and I play queen, then, whoa. I do that like once every 3 months. I click on something and it shows like code and stuff. Although it actually says king here draws, because I have queen e4 check drawing. But Magnus played the simpler move. And this is just a perpetual check. This pawn's too good. Black's up a pawn, but it's meaningless, because my pawn's further advanced. So he just perpetualed him. Okay. He didn't play king e4. They put the kings on the middle. So after king e4, this move wins. So people would say, like, I don't know if they did say this, but I'm sure they did. Magnus blundered and they agreed to a draw when Prague was winning. Because when they put the kings in the middle, if king here's a legal move, you have to put this king in the middle first and then put this king in the middle. If you put this king in the middle first, it thinks he played king e4. And then people are like, what? He could have checked and he could have won the queen.
You're talking about for the DGT?
Right. Whenever one of these moves is played on the last move of the game and it's a blunder, that move wasn't played. That's just putting the kings in the middle. You should know that after several years of that.
I think this guy is a friend of the other guy.
3GM is ring with a party of 5.
Who was the other guy?
I don't know, but Tensor Extension banned him.
It's got to be the same guy.
How do you raid with 3, then raid with 5? How did he do it?
It's got to be the same guy.
Another fake raid. I didn't understand. Exactly.
Which part, Muhib?
Yeah, at the end of the game, the DGT recognizes the result of the game by putting the kings in the middle. If the kings are on white squares, white won. If the kings are on dark squares, black won. If one's on white and one's on black, that's a draw. This position was a draw, so they put the kings here. The DGT board thought white played king e4. And then since black can't play king e5, that was illegal. It didn't do that. So what they should do is put the black king on e5, then put the white king on e4, then the DGT is like, oh, it's a draw. Instead, it registers king e4, which chess.com still has up. Then it says it's a draw, and the crowd is like, what? He blundered his queen, and they agreed to a draw. And that never, ever, ever happens when the kings are here. That's never the last move, and as nobody's blundering, that's just the arbiters put the kings on the wrong square. Also, if the arbiters or players put the kings on the wrong collar, which they do half the time, it registers the wrong result. So they put like, oh wait, they're not on white, they're on, that happens a lot too, etc.
Prague corrected it.
Go Prague.
This game, Magnus put the black on a white square also.
Anyway, that was that game. Interesting game. So Magnus had chances to win at various points of the game, but never did. And in fact, in this position, it doesn't like the move a4. Although the move it does like is queen check, then a4. So that's ridiculous. Stupid computer.
Yeah, I thought the game was interesting.
Yeah, good game. Good job.